Now, our next speaker is somebody who clearly has a bit of a juggle for his work-life balance, because he's certainly got two businesses, two quite contrasting businesses as well. Now, if you ask me, both equally exciting. Last night I was trying to think, which of the two jobs that he has would I rather do? It was quite a difficult decision, and I haven't actually decided yet. Is it the roar of a heavy metal band or the roar of a jet engine? What a decision, eh? Anyway, Bruce Dickinson has the best of both of those worlds, because he's lead singer of Iron Maiden, and he's also just finished touring North America a few months ago. And he's founder of Cardiff Aviation, which you've probably heard about, a commercial aircraft, heavy maintenance and engineering trading company in St Athan here in Wales. Ladies and gentlemen, may I welcome up Bruce Dickinson.
Yep. Morning, everybody. How are you all? Very good, excellent. Oh, thanks, Julie, for that excellent, very good theoretical background with some really sound practical examples. So I'm going to give you a few more practical examples and a little bit less theoretical background. Although I'm going to add to one or 2 points that Julie made about the whole thing about entrepreneurs. She said entrepreneurs were abnormal. There was a study recently, entrepreneurship. Thank God the French don't have a word for it. Entrepreneurs are more hairy than other people. Entrepreneurs are taller than other people. It's obvious. Entrepreneurs take more risks than other people. And entrepreneurs need less sleep than other people. And all of those came out in a study, I think it was in the Daily Mail, so it must be true. I don't think Julie, I'm actually more hairy than Julie, but Julie's more tall than me, so I think on balance we're probably equal in entrepreneurship stakes. The point I'm trying to make is that yes, entrepreneurs are different. We do take risks, and we do lead very, very strange lives. And the reason we do it is because it's exciting, and the reason we do it is because, well, you might have a great idea. You might want to rule the world one day. Oh my God, I'm going to have this empire. Or you might just want to go and do something that's really interesting, but you think you can make money and you want to be kind of clever doing it. And it gives you satisfaction to do that because you create your own system. In the words of William Blake, I must create my own system or be destroyed by another. And there's an awful lot of that in entrepreneurs. You just have to be careful that the system you create doesn't eat you at the same time. Cut your nose off to spite your face. I have a great idea. I am not going to go into business with you because you're going to steal my idea. You're doomed. You're dead in the water. Dead duck. Because what's going to happen there is everybody's going to walk away from you. The key is to go in and figure out how to make yourself indispensable. How to be the ultimate virus to get inside either a system or a corporation or somebody's head to make sure that you become indispensable. They can't do it without you, either because you've invented something, a widget, a piece of software, or because you are just who you are. Don't forget that this is not all about software. This is about liveware as well. You are the liveware. There's hardware, there's software, there's liveware, and there's the environment that we all have to live in. Not all environments are, how can we say, open architecture, as in the great Wild West and the great digital Wild West at the beginning. Not all environments are open architecture. Some of them are highly regulated. And in those highly regulated environments, there are other opportunities that come up because people tend, as Julie pointed out, people tend to be linear. Not everybody, but a lot of people are linear. They think along straight lines, and in highly regulated environments are encouraged to do so. Governments being a case in point. Civil servants being a case in point. Civil servants are and can be an active barrier. They are almost institutionally prejudiced against entrepreneurs. Obviously, there's some disagreement in the room there. But I will give you one caveat. Not all civil servants are institutionally prejudiced against entrepreneurs. Some of them appreciate that we have to take risks. And in fact, I'll say something else as well. If you take a risk, you also take responsibility. That's something that civil servants are supposed to do, but which they don't do. They are theoretically responsible, but they take no responsibility. When was the last time you ever heard a civil servant turn around and say, "Yep, I'm to blame, I resign"? No. I was involved shortly before the last defence review with Liam Fox, who subsequently resigned for something else. I was yanked in to sit down when I was working for an airline to tell the House of Commons Defence Subcommittee spokesman bloke how much it cost to run an airline. We had 11 big airliners. How much it cost just in terms of administrative costs, right? And I phoned up our operations department. I said, how much, roughly? I mean, you know. And he said, I don't know, $1.5 million without looking at the accounts. I said, so, okay, well, let's call it 2.5. Let's err on the side of, you know. I said, about 2.5. And he said, I see. So, he said, so for 14 similar-sized aircraft, you think that a bill of 80 million a year to the taxpayer is a little outrageous? This was the work of a wonderful civil servant. Did he care? No, because he wasn't going to be there in 3 years' time. He was going to be doing something else, in charge of paper clips or something. This is the culture that has to change. And it's a culture which is antagonistic to entrepreneurs, it's antagonistic to risk, it's antagonistic to responsibility. These people are supposed to work for us. They should be taking risks on our behalf to make things more efficient, to make jobs better, to make jobs appear more. I note that unemployment is down by 49,000. 49,000. I'm not sure it's as a result of civil servants. That's as a result of us as human beings getting together and making stuff happen. Ironically, what would happen if you made a load of civil servants redundant? Answer, they'd all start small, medium enterprises the next day telling people how to go and handle civil servants to get them to do what you want. So suddenly, you know, gamekeeper turned poacher. So there is a bit of an entrepreneurship in everybody if you let it go, if you unleash it. The other thing I want to talk about is the music industry, actually, because you alluded to it. So it's fair game, isn't it? The music industry, as Julie said, has been trashed by Apple. Apple try and trash just about everything except Apple. That's their model. Yeah, man, we're hippies. Yeah, right. Now, what they did, very clever, one has to take one's hat off to them. But what they did, of course, was take advantage of an industry in the music industry which was fat, dumb, and happy. And sat there and went, we have sitting in this big black rock here with 30, 60 stories high. How can things possibly go wrong? What's all this digital nonsense? People will never understand it. Just the same IBM said, personal computers, it'll never catch on, you know? So they gave a little royalty to a chap called Bill Gates. So the music industry, record companies, well, effectively, Apple have made sure that you can't make any money making records anymore. Simple as that. They have created a culture in which you have to make music because that gives you the moral authority to go and play live and still exist. But effectively, everybody is going to either steal it or get it for a fraction of what it was worth a while back. Is that a bad thing? Well, yeah, it makes life a little bit more tedious. But on the other hand, the music is going to be for free. But the t-shirt is now going to cost you $100. So in fact, things have just shifted. You know, we've got one top hat, we've turned the top hat on its head, still a top hat. The music industry still exists. It's still probably more popular now than at any time in recorded human history. Everybody wants music. In fact, This is probably the only place in Cardiff right now where there is not piped music being played somewhere. Even in Starbucks. They play more music and they pay no tax. That's incredible. How did that work? I don't know. So, what this is all about, ultimately, is rebranding, rejigging things, and talking about the consumer. Because actually, this is all about the consumer. Actually, it's all about the customer. Everything about being an entrepreneur is all about the customer. Now, going back to music world, Iron Maiden, we've been going for 30-something years, and we should be mature and sort of flatlining by now. But actually, we put some tickets on sale in Stockholm. We sold 50,000 tickets in 49 minutes. Well, that's not a band which is flatlining. Now, if I say that's obviously Iron Maiden fans, now if I turn the word fan and I turn it into customer, that's not a bad customer satisfaction rating, is it? 49 minutes, 50,000 tickets. So I'm going to ask you as entrepreneurs, are all your customers fans of what you do? Because Apple have got fans. People who believe that their little device is, a pathway to a better tomorrow. They buy the same tablet from Samsung? No. Apple? Yeah. Right? So they have fans of what they do. And to make your customers into fans, then you really have to target and know exactly who they are and what you are going to deliver them that's different to anybody else. Corner shops open up all over the world, and then 80% of them shut. About a year later, whatever. They all fail, because they're just doing the same old thing that a corner shop does. What does your corner shop or coffee shop or whatever it is do that nobody else can possibly do? And if you can't answer that question and give that to a customer, you're on your way to oblivion, as most startup businesses end up in the end. And that's a sad thing. So if you know before you start what you're going to bring to the market, you stand a really good chance. Let's move on swiftly to Cardiff Aviation. So I'm going to put my aviation hat on now and tell you what we think we can bring to market in Wales. We've got a fabulous facility. We've got a very supportive Welsh government. We have one or two obstructive civil servants. We have the majority of civil servants who are fabulous. Right? Big box tick there. And they are actually the first ones to go, we're going to try and do something about these other civil servants. Well, that's kind of a sea change. That's encouraging. That gives us confidence. Because one or two of the things, the fabulous facilities you have, and we do have a fabulous facility in St. Athan there. One or two of those fabulous facilities are not quite so fabulous when you get down to the nitty-gritty of it, where you say, we'd like to bring an aeroplane in on Saturday, and the chap goes, no, sorry, I've got to go swimming. So one or two things like that have to change, and they will change. How can we say it? It's a bump in the road. So we level out the little bumps in the road, and we're off to the races. So what are we doing there? What's our niche? There are factories churning out heavy checks on airliners. There's one over there in Bamsey, right? British Airways Maintenance Corporation, very successful, big, absolutely legacy, well-developed corporation at the top of the tree. And there are low labour rates in Bulgaria, albeit subsidised by the government, which is probably illegal, but let's just let that one ride, because there's similar sort of thing going on in China. Let's let that one ride. That's the real world. We have to compete with that. We can't necessarily get our Welsh labour rates as low as we can if we were taking people and subsidising their poverty line wages in Sofia. in Bulgaria or Romania, or wherever it is, which is where a couple of UK airlines decide to export the UK unemployment over there. However, let's not gripe. Well, no, let's gripe, actually, because it sucks. But that's the world we live in, and we have to deal with that. So we've got a fabulous facility. But we don't want to just do turning spanners on big airplanes. Because, I won't say anybody can do that, but yes, anybody can do that. Just chuck some money at it, go and employ some people, spend a lot of money, sit there, wait for the airplanes to arrive. They don't arrive, then you go out of business. So anybody can do that. But that's not what we're doing. What we bring to the picture is actually a replication of a music industry model called a 360 model, in which we take a big snapshot and we go, there's the records, there's the t-shirts, there's the ticket sales, oh, there's the publishing, what else can we have? Oh, I don't know, merchandising for this, merchandising for that. Motorhead brought out their own brand of wine. Yes! They sold 250,000 bottles last year. 250,000 bottles of wine. And you know why they sold that? Because actually it's really, really good wine. Shock horror. Let's go buy a case. So that's what I mean about a 360 model. There are lots of strings to the bow here. So what are we doing at Cardiff to make things work with our facility? We have a fabulous machine shop. We're investing, and actually we're looking to go to production in a bit of semi-disruptive technology ourselves. A brand new marine and aero diesel engine, clean sheet, which will revolutionize the piston engine sector worldwide on a global market. And we already have a corporate customer for 50,000 engines. We're developing airship technology. I'm an investor in a company that sold $500 million of British airship technology for a brand new hybrid airship to the US military. And we're looking for civilian investors. The Canadians have offered 75 million. Got a spare 25, we're away. Taking collection plate later. But this is disruptive technology. It burns 20% less fuel than the most fuel-efficient airplane in the world. What sort of loads does it carry? 50 metric tons, the initial one. Vertical takeoff and landing doesn't require a runway. So it's a game changer. Oil and gas technology. Africa. Long-distance cargo. These are the sorts of things that you want to be involved in on the periphery. We're going to have a small AOC operating down there. An AOC is a miniature airline operating in St. Athan, which will grow to a bigger one. There are lease companies out there with distressed assets that don't know where to place them. We are placing aircraft in Southeast Asia, the only area in the world in which is growing at the moment in terms of aviation. So if you can get in the middle with an organization which can take an airplane, effectively put it into Cardiff Aviation, pimp it out as required, legally, of course. New paint job, that's vital. You bring your aircraft, it wants paint. We can do paint. Not yet, but the Welsh Government have been very helpful. Over the course of the next 6 months, we hope we will be able to do paint on big airplanes. We're looking at contracts in the military. We're looking to spin all of this into a 360 model. A one-stop shop for that difficult sort of airplane that doesn't fit in the big panoply of things, that doesn't want to be part of the sausage factory. And there are hundreds and hundreds of these assets all over the world looking for homes to go to that must be maintained in a highly regulated environment. We have the knowledge of the highly regulated environment, but we also have the operational knowledge and the commercial and leasing knowledge to export these airplanes to Southeast Asia, but more importantly, to bring them back into the European environment and to keep the asset value secure. So that's our niche in Cardiff Aviation. So as of right now, those 49,000 jobs, We've just managed to take 30 of those. We should have about 100 by the time we get to this time. Actually, we should have up to 200 by the time we get to this time next year. I'm confident of that. So, to sum up, this place has a bright future. I hope you all have bright futures, but you've got to put the customer first, and you've got to have a niche. Thank you very much.
Bruce, that was absolutely fantastic, and I feel very naive for even thinking that you had two very different businesses and different hats. They all very much fit together, and we're all now waiting for the Iron Maiden wine as well, aren't we? I'm sure you've got to. Or beer, perhaps, and we can help you. We've got some good breweries in Wales. There we are, Iron Maiden beer. That's what we need next.